So do you see people putting on intellectual airs for Zoom as just another symptom of some of the wider cultural problems we're experiencing right now?
Actually, I have a darker view than you do, and I actually welcome it. Anything that supports the purchase of books, even if it's a fake backdrop or wallpaper, I am for. I have told people actually over and over, you don't see this in my room. You just see my pipes in the background and the blinds. But I am facing about 1,000 books, and I have about 6,000 books. I walk into homes and I am stunned at how many do not have one bookshelf. So I would actually advocate to people, buy books, even if you don't read them, just to say to the world, I take the world of the mind seriously.
That's actually a really great way of looking at things. And as we're talking about our society more broadly, I know you recently wrote a great piece called The Good German. And I was wondering if you could explain some of the premise of your article exactly and how it relates to some of the events that we've been seeing this past year.
This was one of the most difficult. I have 1,000 columns on the internet, and I've written 10 books, so I write a lot. This was probably the hardest piece I ever wrote it on so many levels. And I just simply opened up about a realization I have made in the last year, and a few that I made earlier than that, but the last year concretized. So I grew up as a Jew wondering, how could Germans do what they did in the Holocaust? And so there was a notion, and you don't have to be Jewish to know this notion of the good German. In other words, the person who didn't help the Nazis, who never hurt a Jew, but did nothing. And there was a general condemnation of the quote-unquote good German. And I extrapolated in my piece to the good Russian, the Russian who did nothing under communism, as about 30 to 40 million of his fellow citizens were murdered by Stalin and Lenin and their successors, but especially those two. So I realized, though, in the last year that silence in the face of tyranny is not a German or Russian characteristic. I have watched the people that have been singing the land of the free and the home of the brave for quite some time give in to tyranny with an ease that I never would have expected from Americans. You can't go to work. You can't open your restaurant. You can't make a living. You can't go to school, all of which is utterly irrational. It has no basis in science, none whatsoever. And people have accepted it. People have crushed their lives and crushed their children because the government said so. So, and it gets worse. By the way, it's not just the U.S., Canada, Australia, and in Quebec last weekend, you probably saw the viral video. Family had New Year's Eve. 6 people, a grand total of 6 people celebrating New Year's Eve, snitched on by a neighbor. Police came and tussled with them, arrested them, and fined them $1,500. Arrested them for gathering in their apartment for New Year's. And Garrett Garcetti, the fool who runs Los Angeles, has told us in March, it's good to snitch.